Once upon a time, in the bustling city, there lived a young couple named Amelia and Samuel. They had been dating for a few years and were deeply in love. However, the stress of city life had begun to take a toll on them, and they decided to take a weekend getaway to the woods to reconnect and relax. Amelia and Samuel were both artists, Amelia a painter and Samuel a musician. They both found themselves struggling to find inspiration in the city, and they were excited to spend some time in nature. They found a small cabin to rent deep in the forest, and as soon as they arrived, they were struck by the beauty of the natural surroundings. They spent their days hiking through the woods, taking in the sights and sounds of nature, and in the evenings, they would cook dinner together and cuddle by the fire while Samuel strummed his guitar and sang to Amelia. However, when they arrived at the cabin, the locals warned them to stay away from the old abandoned mansion deep in the woods. They told them that it was cursed, and that anyone who went inside would never come out again. Amelia and Samuel were curious and asked about the backstory of the mansion, but the locals were tight-lipped and evasive. On the last day of their trip, Amelia and Samuel decided to take a final hike before heading back to the city. As they were walking, they stumbled upon the mansion that the locals had warned them about. Intrigued, they decided to explore it despite their fears. As they entered, they were greeted with musty, damp air and cobwebs everywhere. The furniture was covered in dust, and the windows were boarded up, letting in only a sliver of light. As they walked through the house, they began to feel a sense of unease. They couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. Suddenly, they heard a voice whispering their names. They froze in terror, unsure of where the voice was coming from. They quickly realized that the voice was coming from a portrait hanging on the wall. It was the portrait of a beautiful woman, with long dark hair and piercing blue eyes. The woman in the portrait seemed to be staring directly at them, and the voice continued to whisper their names. Amelia and Samuel realized that the voice was coming from the ghost of the woman in the portrait. She had been murdered by her husband in the mansion many years ago, and her spirit had been trapped there ever since. The ghost, Isabella, revealed that she had been watching Amelia and Samuel and had fallen in love with Samuel. She begged him to stay with her in the mansion, promising to make him happy and keep him safe forever. But when Samuel refused to stay, Isabella became jealous and enraged. She locked Amelia out of the mansion and trapped Samuel inside, determined to keep him with her forever. Amelia was desperate to save Samuel and tried everything she could think of to enter the mansion again, but Isabella's curse was too strong. She was unable to enter the mansion and Samuel was trapped inside, forever at the mercy of Isabella's jealous spirit. Amelia never gave up hope of rescuing Samuel and tried to find a way to break Isabella's curse and free him from the haunted mansion. She found out from the locals that Isabella's husband before her death had discovered her affairs with a handsome boy in village, and out of jealousy and rage, he had murdered her and then killed himself soon after. Amelia knew that time was running out, and she had to act fast to save Samuel. She went to a local priest who specialized in exorcisms and begged him to help her put Isabel's spirit to rest. The priest listened patiently and agreed to help her, but warned her that it would be a dangerous and difficult task. The priest performed the exorcism with the help of Amelia. They had to recite prayers, perform rituals, and use holy water to banish the spirit. The exorcism was intense, and Isabel fought back with all her might. Objects in the room began to move on their own, furniture was overturned, and they could hear her voice whispering in their ears. Isabel was determined to kill them all and stop them from banishing her. But with the help of the priest, Amelia was able to overcome Isabel and banish her spirit to hell where she belonged. However, their ordeal was far from over. Isabel's spirit was not willing to go down without a fight. As soon as the exorcism was over, the mansion began to shake and the walls started to crack. Amelia and Samuel were thrown to the ground as the floor beneath them gave way. They realized that Isabel was trying to bury them alive, and they knew that they had to act fast to escape. As they ran through the halls of the mansion, Amelia and Samuel felt like they were in a nightmare. Her ghostly laughter echoing through the halls as she hurled objects at them. They darted around falling debris and frantically searched for a way out, but all the doors and windows were sealed shut. They knew that Isabel was determined to keep them trapped forever in the mansion. But just when all hope seemed lost, Amelia spotted a faint glint of metal in the corner of her eye. She pulled Samuel towards it, and they discovered a secret passageway hidden behind a bookshelf. They squeezed through the narrow passage, their hearts pounding with fear and adrenaline. They could hear Isabel's ghost getting closer and closer, her screams and curses growing louder. But they didn't stop. They knew that this was their only chance of escape. Finally, they emerged from the passageway, gasping for air and covered in dust. They were out of the mansion, but they knew that they had to move fast before Isabel's spirit could follow them out. They ran to their car and drove back to the city, leaving the mansion and all its horrors behind. As they drove away, they could see Isabel's ghostly figure standing at the mansion's window, watching them leave. But they didn't look back. They knew that they had to keep moving forward. Despite their terrifying experience, Amelia and Samuel knew that they had to come out stronger. They knew that their love had stood the test of time and had even conquered death itself. They knew that as long as they were together, nothing could ever come between them. They returned home and shared their story with others as a warning, but deep inside they knew that it was a story of love, bravery, and the power of overcoming fear. They returned home with a new sense of appreciation for life and a deeper understanding of their love for each other, and never returned to the woods again.